County filed its first ever murder charge in connection to a fentanyl-related death. 20-year-old Carson David Shue allegedly sold fentanyl to another 20-year-old in December. Placer County District Attorney says that sale later led to the death of that person. Shue is being held at the South Placer Jail and is not eligible for bail.
Placer County DA Morgan Gire joins us now, and we thank you for joining us. We know you're limited on what you could say about this case. You have to prosecute it, but in your eyes, how does the sale of fentanyl rise to the level of murder?
Well, thank you. Anytime someone engages in behavior that is incredibly dangerous, and they know it to be dangerous, they know that it's likely to lead to the death of someone, and they do that behavior anyway, the law treats that as murder. So in this particular situation, when someone sells, in general, sells narcotics that they know would likely kill someone, they know that, they do it anyway, the law would treat that as murder.
So do you think this move will set a precedent that you and other prosecutors will start to use murder charges more often in these fentanyl-related deaths?
I think we will see it more, yes. And I think part of that is because we are seeing more fentanyl-related deaths. We are seeing more fentanyl poisoning and more fentanyl overdoses. We're able to investigate those better. And sadly, we're just doing it more frequently. But it is, important to note that we're not seeking to prosecute more murders. We're seeking to prevent deaths. We're seeking to save lives primarily.
So you're definitely sending a strong message here, but some would argue the person who died took the drug and nobody forced that drug down that person's throat. Is that going to pose a problem as you try to get a murder conviction?
It doesn't pose a legal problem. Those are commonly thoughts that are held and things that are mentioned. But someone who signs up to experiment with drugs or is trying to deal with an addiction issue, they didn't sign up for a death sentence. And the people, if we are able to prove that the people who are selling these deadly drugs know that they are likely to result in death, that it is incredibly dangerous, and they do it anyway, they know that they are likely sentencing that person to death, and the law will treat that as murder.
What's the most alarming thing to you about fentanyl?
How deadly it is. It, as little as 2 milligrams can be fatal. And to put that in perspective, a teaspoon has about 5,000 milligrams. What look like a few granules of salt is enough to kill. And most of the counterfeit pills, most of the pills on the street today that are not obtained by a prescription from a physician are probably fentanyl. DEA statistics estimate that 4 out of every 10 pills contain a lethal dose of fentanyl. So that to me is the most alarming, just how fatal these pills are.
And talk about how you have seen these numbers change in the time that you've served as DA in Placer County. We know this problem has been only, unfortunately, growing. How have you seen this change during your time there?
Sadly, our community in Placer County has seen the effects of this fentanyl crisis. We are not immune to it. No community is. We have seen an increase in fentanyl poisonings and fentanyl deaths increase by as much as 200% just in the last 2 years. We expect to see that, unfortunately, continue to climb as those rates are climbing in other counties as well, which is why our prevention, our education, our awareness programs are so critically important. And on the back end, our enforcement and prosecution efforts as well.
All right, Placer DA Morgan Gire, an important discussion to have. Thank you for taking the time to join us this afternoon.
Thank you very much for having me.